240SX built, running, lively, back on the street. Let's go, baby. Woo! Welcome back to another episode of Terry Thornberry Performance, baby.
As you can see, we got a table full of performance parts, and that only means one thing.
Goodies!
Exactly. So we've got the KA24DE getting built up as we speak. We've got all the T stuff right here, the turbo goodies. So that being said, the manifold, the turbo itself, the oil, and the return feed lines. So we gotta get that all situated on the motor. The boys gotta get the engine bay cleaned up for the motor to be accepted into there. Just some little things like intercooler piping, the intercooler mounts, little stuff like that. But we'll go ahead and show you guys how she's looking.
And the customer wanted the full ISR Performance Turbo bottom mount kit. And he also wanted to make sure that the 240SX kept stock as if it was OEM. So we're gonna be showing you on how to get this build process in your 240SX.
Correct.
Let's go.
Yep.
But nonetheless, let's move on to what we got in this week, because we got some goodies. So if we move on to over here, we got this brand new Tuxedo 9,000 pound capacity 2-post car lift, baby. Woo! So as you guys see, it's up in its spot. So now all we have to do is just drill holes into the ground, put the anchor bolts in, get it torqued down to the ground, make sure it's good to go. Then now we can get a car in here and actually start testing this thing and get double the work done now, baby. But let's get cracking.
We got the turbo onto the manifold, made it up with a nice gasket, got the downpipe, and about to put the feed on to the block side. So we'll show you how that's all routed. So for right now, we're just making up the manifold to the block so we can now get the position on where we want to tap for the oil pan so we can get an oil drain on this thing. Some of you must be wondering why this engine is actually out of the motor and on the engine stand, instead of just putting the turbo kit on the motor with the engine already in the car. That being said, with these builds, we do like to go ahead and gap the rings. That being said, once we're inside gapping the rings, I like to do a full MLS head gasket kit, kind of go through all the internals and replace all the gaskets that need be. That being said, this full timing guide on the front of this motor was completely blown out. It's just sitting in the oil pan, just chilling. So it's a good reason why we take them out, get them ready for the turbo. Other than that, it's good to go. About to drop it into the motor once we make the trans up to the block, and then after that we'll be going for a little test ride and we'll see how she rips. Other than that, let's get this motor build finished off so we can get the rest of the day going. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and put the oil pan on. Don't worry, it's not permanent. It's literally just marking it up just so we can double check where we're gonna have to drill in for the oil return. Remember, there is some work that still needs to be done rather than just bolt and play. So we gotta go and find this, mark it, drill it, weld it, and we'll have oil return. So one thing keep in mind, just a nice little tip. When doing these oil pans, you obviously have bolts. When you go to put the drain, try and find that bolt and not put it right underneath it so it can make it a little bit easier. So just to give you guys a little bit better perspective on it. So obviously you have your oil bolt, goes in there. Don't be that guy and put it right underneath it. Now you can get your bolt in there. Do a little bit off centered. Do it a spot where it's higher on the oil pan, so obviously the oil cannot flow out, you know. Other than that, you'll be good to go and you'll have a turbo on your motor. That being said, try and put all the accessories that you're gonna be running on this motor on so you can actually mount up the line so it's not hitting anything instead of doing it the other way around where you do the oil return, you're all proud of it, it looks gangster, and then you put your AC lump on there and it's hitting it and you gotta do it all over again. So we're just gonna find a nice little spot, get some paint, paint it, drill it, weld it, Alright, so we got the oil pan drilled out. We got a little dash 10 oil bunk. Nice and recessed in there. Good to go. Now we'll come along, weld it all up. We'll have oil return. So as you guys see, the oil pan is now drilled, waiting for the oil bunk to get welded in. That being said, we need to go and get the front timing cover situated. There is no cork or gasket that goes onto the front timing cover. That being said, we just use RTV. That's what OEM calls for. Both surfaces are now clean. We're gonna get them mated up, get these two pieces good to go. The timing's all situated. We're all happy with that. Once the front timing cover is all situated, the oil pan will be welded up. Get that going, get the trans situated, get the clutch on, get the motor in the car, get it all wired up, and move on to the next thing. Let's go.
All right, so we got the drill, we got the drill bit, we got the hole. So now we gotta finally put the bolt in there. So now, if you guys haven't installed one of these yet, it's called an anchor bolt. You get it nice and flush, just like so. Put it in just like so. I'm gonna get a hammer we call Thor. I'm gonna tap it in, and then as far as it goes to right here, nice and flush, then I'm gonna impact it on. Then when this starts to pull up, it actually starts to expand, and then it grabs onto the cement. So that's what these bolts are made for. So that's what we're gonna go ahead and do. So we already drilled the second one, the second hole in. Now we're installing the second one. We just don't want to tighten one all the way down without getting it even distributed. So. Just like so, baby girl. Good to go. But I think that's about it for this. I appreciate you guys for watching. But you know what? Stay tuned. You're definitely gonna see some more. You're definitely gonna see the rest of that build on the Blue 240SX. But head over to Jack Thornberry. He's gonna explain on what he has to do to finish up the motor so we can go ahead and throw it in. And then we'll get it back on the road and then have the customer come pick it up and see his expression on how the 240 came out.
What was that? Yup. On this side, we're getting the motor situated like I've already been saying. We're ahead to getting the alternator already put in. Actually getting the power steering assembled. One thing we haven't told you about this car is this is actually a Super Heckus model, meaning it does have a rear steer. So this does have a different type of pump. Make sure to find out in the next episode once we guys show you. Like Terry said, thank you for watching. Make sure to tune in to subscribe for the next episode, baby. Woo!